Good afternoon. It's another moment with David. Today we will be exploring on some issues or an issue that is of concern to Nigeria. You know, when you look at the way things are going in Nigeria right now, this government, when they came in 2023, they had a lot of issues to handle, and the dollar was skyrocketing while there was insecurity, there was high inflation, there was famine, there was farmer herders clashes, and all that. And the food crop, the high cost of food and everything. In fact, I was disappointed in what the Sultan of Sokoto, the Royal Sultan of Sokoto said, including the Emir of Kano, talking to the president's wife, and tell you all man that the Nigerians are hungry. Sultan said, we cannot control them any longer and all that. So if they get to an outburst rate, and these are pressures that are really pounded. Well, maybe I shouldn't be too disappointed. Maybe that's their own channel or best means of communicating with the government. Because I expected that they should have some other, undisclosed channels that they can communicate with the government, and not to, because their statements are very weighty in the public and they could cause a lot of things, and it could be misinterpreted. However, the government has so much, and people were now beginning to look at can it handle the crisis of this, dollar spiking and the rate at which Naira was being depreciated, embarrassingly to the nation and to every Nigerian. And this was translating back to high inflation of cost of importation, cost of production, cost of things, because a lot of raw materials are being imported. Now, I want to now say that there should be a congratulation to the federal government regarding this, because what the federal government was trying to achieve then, the government was saying that earlier before this time, that for many years the CBN has been augmenting with $1.5 billion to keep the dollar at maybe 400 or 300 and something, But now they said let it flow, as in let's know the real value of dollar. Maybe, probably that was why they threw it open and it began to float, and the hike was so high, so much that some people were even predicting that dollar could spike to as high as 2,500 naira. And but we must commend the measure that the CBN governor and his team. When I say team, the CBN government is doing that. There might be some other federal government agencies that are also supporting him to achieve this, and the Bureau de change and all that. And so now the dollar is dropping while Naira is gaining its value. I want to be optimistic that this dollar might actually might be, maybe by the end of the year, might drop to, like, it should be within the range of 800 to 600, maybe. I know Nigeria might say, well, this is not what you met it at 500 and something, and a lot of things have been attributed to it, that talking about federal government removing subsidy from petroleum, and now in fact they are even removing subsidy from electricity. I think the way the government is going, they need to really explain to Nigerians very well, because what they are doing is right, but it's painful. They are trying to make those industries get their real value, rate their real services, and probably be able to stand on their own independently. Because when you look at, if you're augmenting with $1.5 billion every month, you translate that into a year, that's $18 billion. I believe so much that if you invest $18 billion in so many sectors in Nigeria, the economy would have thrived enormously to expand. I mean, the inflow of FX, rather than subsidizing or shocking it with such large amount of money. And even though it wasn't clear how many years that this has been going on, so precisely just assume that it's been going on for like 10 years. That's $180 billion that we are doing to shock an economy that is not productive. Encouraging some, liabilities and all that. So, but now if the government is trying to say, okay, let the Naira gain its real value in the market, the government also have a responsibility. And this cut across so many other. You must begin to talk about sustainability. Yeah, you are clearing backlogs of $7 billion and some other. Yes, it's a good thing, and we must applaud you for that. Nigerians really appreciate that. But you need to now go into an investment sector, sectors that will curb our foreign export of dollar, even if it's not increasing our import of dollar, but can reduce our export of dollars. Meaning that the first advice I give to the federal government should sit down with manufacturers and producers of different products in Nigeria, line out those products that people are importing, those raw materials they are importing. What are those raw materials? Look at those raw materials that can be sourced for in Nigeria. Now, if you can find a material that can be sourced for in Nigeria, the money you are using to subsidize or cushion the dollar, divert that money into those industries. I give example. Nigeria import palm oil. Let's give example. And maybe for soap manufacturing company, they say we are not producing enough palm kernel products to produce soaps, to produce detergent, to produce cosmetic products and some other things, food products, and all that. So what government should do is that make a master plan. Palm products, we want to invest $500 billion for the next 500 billion naira for the next 5 years. So pick that 500 billion. Look at the range of how much is being imports that the producers or manufacturers are importing with that. They invest as much as $100 billion naira into that sector. Empower farmers, grow more palm products, expand, speak to the state governors that have the land for palm produce. I mean, if I look at it, we have really about 10 states or 12 that can produce palm, from Edo, Ogun, Oyo, Delta, Rivers. Invest in these sectors. Then those that want to set up the processing machines, if they can let them have access to 1% loan from the federal government, talking about Bank of Industry. So if you need 50 billion to set up that manufacturer that can produce 1,000 tons of palm products every day, if we have that in the 12 states, that is 12,000 tons, coupled with what we already have on ground, I think we will begin to be able to produce what is needed. Instead of, I read that Nigeria import an average of 300,000 plus of tons of palm produce from Asian country, I think Thailand or Malaysia, every year. So we need to cut those shortfalls because you are spending dollars to do that. So when you invest, and some other raw materials, I'm just picking on one. So begin to invest in those sectors so that we reduce what we are using. Then government can start saving the FX, the foreign exchange, and the dollar will begin to gain its real value without being cushioned. And when you do this, you are creating more jobs. You are creating political stability. You are driving the economy. This is what government should concentrate. The CBN is doing well, but we now begin to look at sustainable structures that can keep this thing, so that it won't be as if maybe in the next 2 years there won't be anything to cushion it. When we have paid all the backlogs, the FX is low. Yes, as at this morning, as at this 7th of April, or 8th of April rather, it is said that dollar, the oil market has boomed. I mean, it's clicking down to $100. Last 2 weeks was $90. That means that we should expect more foreign exchange from our oil industry. But government should begin to look at other sectors, and that's why I appreciate the Minister for Mineral Resources. I think he's doing something, but you need to sit down and explore policies that can really ensure that Nigerian mineral resources are managed majorly by Nigerians, and there's a proper value chain that can create jobs across all the states that have these mineral resources. So this will also help our FX. It will really help our FX, because right now dollar is dropping, Naira is increasing, but I'm talking more on the sustainability. Because why it looks like that is that people who bought dollar for 700 and now are trying to push it out and all that. By the time all of them have pushed those dollars out, yes, Naira might have fallen down to maybe 500, 600 or 800. But how do we sustain it? without cushioning it with federal government augmenting. So that's what I'm bringing up, that government within the next 6 months, government should set up a panel, look at the raw, sit down with raw materials and all that, begin to give them subsidies and begin to invest, give loans, soft loans, huge loans in billions. So for indigenous Nigerian companies, not foreign company, because it would be stupid for you to go and be giving loans to foreign company to be processing our raw material that are needed, that can be translated. So a lot of things have to be done in this economy, and I'm optimistic. I'm happy with this government. That it looks as if they are throwing the right way. I'm a political economist, so I think I have a good knowledge. I have a good idea of what they are trying to do. But where I'm seeing that they must be able to sustain it, I think the man Cardoso is doing a quite good job, and he must try to work with other ministers to improve our FX regular earnings, and begin to do. And in my last video I spoke about the airpiece and all that. That's why even the CBN, the Minister for Trade and Investment, the mineral resources, all these people must sit down. Foreign affairs and government, and some senators, they will need to sit down. Appointed senators on foreign affairs and industries must sit down and look at how can we really improve, have multiple channels of generating, service rendering, also production, service, production and all that. Another thing that it's also optimistic, that I think Nigerians are optimistic, and the government is also optimistic, is about the Dangote refinery, who has been able to start releasing diesel, and promising that by May they will be releasing what do you call it, the fuel, motor spirits, so that Nigerians can cushion. But Nigeria it's right, but the joy of Nigeria and the respect government will earn by what do you call it, to win their next election, is if they can mount pressure on Mr. Dangote to reduce his own fuel drastically. It shouldn't exceed 500. It shouldn't, and it should keep dropping. It shouldn't be stable, like, okay, 500, okay, I'll do 500. No, because Nigerians are buying at 500 and something, 600 and something. But if you can drop to 500 or 4 something, and it should be dropping maybe in the rate of every month, if it's 10 naira, then Nigeria will now understand. Then the market is taking its proper shape without government subsidizing. Without government subsidizing, and because subsidy has always been a kind of a parlor for corruption. So, but right now with this that government is doing, if they can work on that Dangote, and regulate how Dangote exports his own refined product, and ensure that whatever Dangote exports, the FX goes to the CBN. Yes, it goes to the CBN, because and government must also ensure that most of the people working in Dangote must be Nigerians who earn Naira, not Indians or foreigners who are earning dollars. So if we have Indians, there should be a master plan and say, okay, these guys have to live in the next 2-3 years. You must prepare people that they will train to replace their offices. And that's why the foreign affairs and our embassies must work hard on that. I believe that with that, we begin to reduce what we expend our foreign exchange on, because in the last government of 8 years and so on, they've complained that they spend more of our FX on subsidy of petroleum and all that, and so they gave diesel out for 1,225. Is there any way government can structure it so that manufacturers can begin to produce at an affordable cost? Because government must understand that we are in a competitive market world. We are competing with Asian, we are competing with Europeans, we are competing with American, and we want to chunk out the same product. One of those things that have given Vietnam and some other Asian countries opportunity to compete in the global market is because they have steady electricity, and they are producing less cheaper than China itself, and India is also producing a bit cheaper than than China. So if Nigeria too can start intervening in all this energy cost and all that, we are blessed with gas, but this issue of Dangote, if the cost of transportation can reduce, if they can do that, and they should regulate that, I'm optimistic that our foreign exchange will begin to increase, our dependence on import product will reduce drastically, and our economy will begin to take proper shape, and there will be creation of jobs. Thank you very much, and I like I've said that we will look forward to see what the CBN will be doing to keep the Naira keep appreciating, and to be able to sustain it, not for a short period of time but for a long period of time, and make policies that will assure job creation. I must say kudos to Mr. Cardoso. He must be honored and respected. He has done a very good job, and that's a very good thing. Thank you very much for this video. I do appreciate, and I will appreciate that if you want us to keep creating such content, this kind of content, unbiased content about what is happening in the world, happening in Nigeria, and some prediction that we can give, you can go back to our subsequent videos that we've done and this that we'll be doing. You can just make sure that you subscribe. Please subscribe, like, and share. That's where we can get the drive and motivation that we need. Thank you very much. This is a moment with David. Thank you and God bless you.